true or false. Things like, is my age 38? True. Is my name Stephen? False. Things like that. They can only be true or false, nothing else. Integer.
Do you have to have a false and a true to make it a Boolean? Or is it ever used just for true or just for false?
If you have a Boolean, my Boolean B, you can set that Boolean to be true or you can set that Boolean to be false. Statements can create Boolean return values. So something like my age equals 10, that can be true or false. So it's just a representation of true or false.
Okay.
Integers are numbers without decimals.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yep.
5. How far they can go depends on if you have a 64-bit or 32-bit computer.
Okay.
But you don't need to worry about that. You're very likely never going to need to think about that. Floats are decimal numbers.
Okay.
I don't remember the actual precision of this, meaning like how many decimals or how many
Right.
numbers. You can look it up. A double is the same as float, except it has double the precision of floats. Meaning that you can have a more precise number in a double than you can in a float.
Okay.
For example, let's say I wanted to measure this table. I can say that it's like 6.555566666 feet in a double. If I wanted to like get down to the nanometer, maybe I would need a double because it's 6.55556666987 blah, blah, blah. Okay? Character or char or char or whatever you want to call it, it's just this character. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay.
So on.
When you write the inch mark, you really mean the quote mark? Or?
It depends on language again.
Okay.
They're all different. Some use single quotes, some use double quotes.
Okay.
It doesn't like this is not language specific.
Okay.
Then there's the null or none means basically nothing, or like it's a specific point in memory that you just say like, hey, this thing is pointing to nothing. There's nothing there. Pretty much everything that you do is operations on top of these types of things.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about how operations?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to that. So for example, even complex things like, let's say, an image, right? It's just built up like it's much more complicated than that because it's compression and blah 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 blah. But at the very like basic, it's just a like
On off.
no, it's just a two-dimensional thing that has pixels. Each pixel has a value. So it's like 640 by 480 pixels. Each pixel has a value of RGB, red, green, blue.
And there's three number.
And that's three numbers.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing we are going to talk about is methods or functions.
Okay.
And you can easily write a program that has no methods or functions. It's just like line after line after line of things that happen, right? So then if you write a program like that, it's going to start at the top and go to the first line, do something, go to the second line, do
the
whatever,
next thing.
and like that works for super simple programs. But let's say you wanted to do something when something specific happens. If you just have that, you're going to have to like basically copy that whole thing to a bunch of different
Nested.
not even nested, just like, hey, first I do this and then and then I want to do the same thing again, and then you just write the same exact statements again and blah blah blah. So that's why there's such a thing as methods or functions. What that is to basically take a number of these operations and encapsulate that into something that you can then call with one line instead of having to write all those lines again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but not right now because I gotta just finish talking to Mom. Yeah. Alright. So, method has a name. It has input and it has output.
Can you write an example?
Yep, I did.
A syntax.
Yes. So here. Very simple method. I'm calling it add.
Okay.
It adds two numbers, A and B. So
Okay.
this is the output type.
Okay.
It outputs a float,
Okay.
meaning a number like this with decimals. Its name is this, add. These are the two inputs.
What does that say? Float A?
Float A and float B.
Okay.
So it takes two things. And this is the body of the method.
What do you mean by the body?
The thing that's inside the method.
Yeah.
This is a very simple method, so it's kind of useless to actually make this type of method.
Right.
So what it does is just return A plus B.
So the method is return A plus B, not float add.
Now float is the output type. So you know that when you use this method, you're going to get a float back.
Yeah.
Float A and B are the things that you put in there.
Yeah.
And this is the body that actually does some sort of work. So if I were to use this specific method, it would look something like float C equals add 10.0 and 11.5. And now if I wanted to know what C in this case is, which is the value of that, I would do some sort of check for that, what it is. I can use it.
Yeah.
For example, maybe you want to print that number. So depending on language, it's different ways of doing it, but let's just call that it's called print C. And then on the console you would probably see 21.5. Yeah. So.
Okay. And nowhere do you write return?
Not in this. Not when you're using the method.
Okay.
That's just inside things to push things out of it.
Okay.
So my thing is the C. I use my method that has the name add. I do two inputs. That's what add has.
A and B.
And I get a result, and I can do something with that. This all together is called the method signature.
Okay.
Because if you were to add three things here, like 10, 11, and 12, it would bork. It wouldn't work.
Why?
Because you've said here that, hey, I expect you to put two things in it. If there's a third, it's not going to work.
Okay.
It's either not going to compile, depending on the language, if there's a compiler involved, or it's not going to return. It's going to throw an exception.
That's your cookie.
Okay. All right, so those are methods. And what methods should be, they should be, I mean, you can make a method that's anything. What they should be is they should do one specific thing. Just to make your program readable. It shouldn't be, a very bad method would be something like add